This is Sifu Casey Martin from the School of Flow and Fighting Arts, Full Circle Gung Fu here in Family Life Fitness Center. Helping me today is my student Travis. We're going to do a quick video on trapping to grappling. Alright, for those of you who don't know, and I think I've said this in a couple of my other videos, before I ever trained in any Kung Fu or any Gung Fu systems, I got my start in Jiu-Jitsu. I have a really big respect for Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu and American Combat Jiu-Jitsu, which is a system founded by Professor Tony Maynard. Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu comes from Wally J. It's a phenomenal system. My instructor in Jiu-Jitsu was Professor Tony Maynard, and he was a high-ranking black belt in Small Circle, but he founded his system, American Combat Jiu-Jitsu. When I got into Jeet-Kune-Do concepts, I started learning Filipino Dumag and other grappling systems from there, plus like China, which is Chinese joint locking. I do a lot of, we do a lot of joint locks. We have a saying that joint locks don't exist, but joint breaking is very real. What that means is when we do a joint lock, we have the intention to break. I don't believe in putting a person in a finger lock and telling them, are you going to leave me alone? Because, you know, anyone in pain will say, yes, I'll leave you alone, but that's not going to stop them from hitting you again. So we do joint locks, excuse the way of explaining it, but we call it joint locking, drunk uncle techniques. Someone you care about, you joint lock them so that they leave you alone. But in a self-defense situation, if we're going for a joint lock, we are not locking, we are breaking. Being as we come from a Junfan Gung Fu, Jeet-Kune-Do, and Running Fist background, we do a lot of trapping. My favorite way to teach grappling or joint locks or anything like that, my favorite way to teach it is to approach it from trapping. Because we can teach if he puts his hand on my shoulder, we can teach turning and catching the guy in a joint lock here to make him sit down. But I like to move it from, I like to work from how we train to set up our strikes and everything else. So a real simple one that we learned, and I learned this in American Combat Jiu-Jitsu, which I learned it as the shutdown. In Junfan Gung Fu, we call it double pak sao, and in Running Fist is known as cover cover. All right, regardless of which hand we go on, the hand that moves first is the hand that hits. So since we're facing the camera, I'm gonna trap with my left hand first so I can do the joint lock on the right side of the body. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna slap, throw my back fist. Now once I throw my back fist, my hand catches him at the wrist, and I can use my own body to turn for the wrist lock. But what I'm going to do, so you can see it on the camera, is I'm just gonna bring his hand up. I don't push it away from my body. I'm using what's called a power bubble. I want him near me where I'm stronger. If you hold a 5-pound weight in the center of your chest, you're holding 5 pounds. If you extend it out, you may be holding 5 pounds, but it's gonna cause your body to do 25 pounds worth of work, which is gonna make you have to work harder for it. So when I come in and I do my shutdown, or whatever you wanna call it, I can trace this across my body using my power bubble, keeping it in the center of mass. I'm gonna control at the thumb, we call this part of the thumb. If you're in Aikido, they call this the drumstick. I'm holding the thumb, that gives me my wrist lock. If I use my body, I can move. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to come in, grab with my other hand, instead of pushing, come here, like this, he points his fingers at me, he can withstand the wrist lock a little bit. You feel how you can, yeah, right? So what I do is I turn my hand over and I cover his knuckles, try to withstand it. See how the structure's broken down? So what we're going to do is as I come in, back up just a little bit, I come in, I do my shutdown, this traces across my body to go ahead and break his structure. If I need to, I got an elbow here to hide it. My hand covers his top knuckles where he'd be punching, and I turn, that breaks his structure down. Now the beauty of that is if I catch at the knuckles, I want to go into a finger lock, I can. Now I'm holding all of them because I like Travis, but if I get one, you can't see him standing up on his toes, but he tapped because it hurts. I take this, I rise to the elbow, I break you, okay? And then I can come in for my elbow. So when I'm looking at how I'm setting up my trappings, I use it from a trapping perspective. Well, my grappling, I want to use it from a trapping perspective. Now the reason we teach the shutdown a lot when we're focusing on learning grappling moves is this is one of our go-tos. Let's back up just a little bit so you can see it a little better. If he's throwing a left-right punch at me, that's one of my go-to techniques for working on my covering, because a pak sao or cover is just a parry that reaches out and high fives a hand. We don't come forward, we go to the side. So when he's throwing a punch at me, I'm parrying it. Go ahead, go too fast. Punch me in the nose. I want him to try to hit me. Once I catch, I have an elbow lock here. If I need to, I can turn in this way. If I go underneath and turn, we're setting up upside down wrist lock. It would cause a throw. So the reason we do a lot of it from our shutdown, watch again, is because it teaches us to parry and how we can go into other locks. So that's why we approach stuff from trapping. If he throws 2 punches and I go to the inside with my Pak style, Lop style, I can come in, control, and I get my same locking parameters. I get my same setups. All right? So the first one, again, I want you to just, this is going to be simple. I'm not going to show everything, but as he can punch, I can do my shutdown, come in, catch my locks, catch a finger. I can come in here. If he's punching, I can parry this way to come in and follow up with joint locks. So every time, a lot of times when you see us do trapping, don't move. You see us hit. It's not that he's being passive. It's that we like to train our guys to move first. If his hands are up, I know the fight's already happening, and at this range, he can hit me. So, you know, it'd be nice to be back so that if he throws a punch, he has to commit to hitting me, which allows me to intercept. But if I don't have that luxury, maybe my kids are behind me or something, and I'm from here, I move first, and I don't give him the time to hit me. Because we say you can tell when the person's attacked you in their mind, so we move first, which gives me my ability to joint lock if I need to. So when we're trapping and looking for our joint locks, or even our chokes, or grobbets, or neck breaks, we like to move from here, we like to move first. But if my hands are up and he's punching, I'm at this close range and I've been dealing with trapping, it's going to be easier for me to set up my locks.